Daylight savings time in Florida means the heart of the racing season is underway, what I like to call adult spring break. IndyCar's kicked off in St. Pete. We had Amelia Island Hall of Fame induction for the 2019 class over in Daytona, and now we are at Super Sebring.
And we call it Super Sebring for so many reasons. In fact, we're going to put the super in the Super Sebring because I don't think there's anywhere better this weekend to be than right here in Florida. For so many reasons. So we're going to blow the lid off the planet IMSA. Guys, stick around.
Green, green, green.
Well, welcome to the talk show live here from Sebring International Raceway, right in the middle of Florida. And I got to say, TK, this I said at the beginning, there is no better place to be because this is a very special Sebring. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. They have record attendance. Normally in the old days, you come to Sebring and you'd be able to pick and choose your camping spot. But now, no way. They literally had to take aerial photographs from above and lay out every single inch of this place to get the fans, the drivers, the teams, and everybody in. It's going to be incredible.
To set the scene a little bit, Victory Lane is right here. We say where winners hang. This is where the winners are going to be crowned, about 50 feet away from us. Turn 17 is about 100 feet that way. So we're right in the heart of the action. We got a great studio audience, standing room only here.
Oh, my goodness. That's the whole thing. Fans really drive Sebring, and that's what brings everyone back year after year. But, of course, we do come off the back of an incredible Rolex 24 at Daytona. How many of you there? A lot of you, I hope. Yeah, exactly. It's sort of a Florida thing to do in January, February, March. And really, for us, Daytona, we kick off with our Super Bowl in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. And it is truly exceptional. The race, well, it was demanding. We had the best drivers in the world there. Fernando Alonso, of course, was one of our guests. But for the drivers, it was epic. For the fans, it was epic, but also a little wet, I imagine. But for us, having guests like Fernando on, having the guests that we did, and I mean, obviously, getting everyone on the show, for us really enabled us to launch the talk show in a way we never imagined.
Well, I mean, is that why Fernando won? Just saying.
Yeah, just saying. I think
so. But the crazy thing was, what's cool about road racing is they talk about rain or shine. It was not a picture-perfect sort of day, but it made for an incredible test. And you had Alonso in second place saying they should stop this race. I noticed he didn't pull in the pits because that's why he's Fernando Alonso. And he was able to thread the needle, get that big win, add another jewel to his crown. And so it was big, but it was also big for the Torque Show. That being said, we're going to do something we probably will be doing a fair amount of. We have to make our first on-air apology. So, we made such a big deal about this is where the winners hang. We had world champions, Indy 500 winners, and so forth. And we got some feedback, and we feel bad about it. We heard from some losers, and they were feeling like we were not being inclusive enough. So, and we want to make it crystal clear that we love losers too.
Yeah, I've been one a lot.
And so we want to talk to the winners more, but we love the losers also. So if you're a loser, come join us. You probably won't get as good a seat, but everyone's welcome. Just identify yourself when you walk in if you're a loser or you're a winner.
Yeah. Where did you come up with that? That's really good.
You like that?
That's that and that.
Yeah. And
then
that. Come
on.
Okay,
you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Sign language, according to us. We're going to actually mix things up here a little bit because our guests, imagine the demands on everybody is pretty big. We're waiting on the man who dominated in the rain right up until he didn't at Daytona. I don't think he's here right now. I'm looking at our stage manager, James. Don't think he's here. So we're going to announce something really big for us. Our friends at Compass Racing, if you remember at Daytona with the 75 McLaren, they actually won in the Michelin Pilot Challenge. It was a huge kickoff for McLaren. The first time that series has ever run all on Michelins, and it was a really big deal for them. But we're announcing we are sponsors on their car, which is pretty big deal.
Wait, they're sponsoring us or we're sponsoring them?
Well, we're kind of sponsoring them.
Do we have that kind of money?
I didn't. Well, you gave me your credit card to buy something the other day, so I thought we just might as well have fun with it.
So that means we're rich.
That means we're rich.
That's what rich guys do.
So
Let's
not
hear
happening.
it.
So not happening. Actually, the reality of it is, our friends Jill and Carl, who run Compass Racing, they've been longtime friends of Tommy and I, and obviously with their drivers, I mean, great driver lineup, of course. What they saw was an opportunity to really match what the car's on-track success is with not just only Race Day Foundation, which is a foundation run by Jill Beck, and I think Brian Till and myself are actually on the board, which is her first mistake. But what we're doing is really partnering on that car, bringing some awareness. We will have some of the kids from Race Day Foundation on the set coming up in a little bit tomorrow. But we're really pleased. So big round of applause, Jill. Thank you for putting us on your car. So what else have you been up to, TK? Because it's been a busy few weeks.
Well, I got here. I only didn't get here till yesterday. I had one of the highlights of my year. I was honored to be inducted to the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in 2015. And so the annual induction, the 2019 class, got inducted. And here is seated are the inductees: Tony Stewart, Linda Vaughn, Tony Schumacher, Kevin Schwantz, Phil Remington's daughter, longtime, 44 years with All-American Racing. Augie Duesenberg posthumously was inducted, and then we also have Chase Carey, CEO of Formula One, is on the end, honorary chairman, and the dashing Dario Franchitti. It was an unbelievable night. One of the coolest classes, and that Hall of Fame doesn't just cover NASCAR, open wheel, sports cars, drag racing. It's all of them, and it's one of the most remarkable evenings. There was some great banter. Linda Vaughn, who has been at this, and if you've never met Linda Vaughn, the story I say that sums her up, she's got this unbelievable mind for names and recall. Yeah. And we meet a lot of people. I don't remember names. I don't necessarily even remember faces all the time. I was at a race with my one brother that nobody knows. Everybody knows my brother Bart, my brother John. Mike has been to like one race in his life. We were at a banquet. I said, Linda, you might have met Mike before. She looked at him and said, he was at Denver in 1990. True story with Linda Vaughn.
All right.
And so she gets the whole thing. She has a lot of fun. There was a banter about Tony Stewart finally being old enough to hook up with her.
Oh, that's nice.
And so that got Don Prudhomme revved up that he wasn't her favorite any longer. So there's ongoing banter with Linda. Dario, Scott Dixon inducted or presented Dario. Jimmy Johnson flew all the way from Phoenix and then back to California to introduce Tony Stewart. So
big. And of course, Tommy was a Hall of Famer last year, guys. So that was a big deal. Woohoo! I was just looking at that picture, wondering how David Hobbs managed to make it from there right after the Amelia Island, because he was with us in Amelia Island. And I actually emceed not only a 962 panel, there he is, I emceed a 962 panel, as well as having the honoree fireside chat with Jackie Ickx. And it really brought home to me quite how, I think I was telling him at that point that at one point I tried to date his daughter. And then he stood up, and then we settled it, and then I said I also
both his daughters.
And then I tried to date the other one, and that didn't go well either. So, but this was a special moment, and of course, any of you that follow sports cars know that Jackie Ickx is a total rock star in our world.
Who was on that 962 panel? Tick some of the names off.
Brian Redman, Jackie Ickx, David Hobbs. We don't know why David was on it, which is quite funny, but he had raced the 962. My father, Mark Raffoff. It was really special. You like this particularly, don't you?
Well, speaking of Mark Raffoff has been with IMSA since the beginning, and Mitch Bishop is the son of John Bishop, the founder of IMSA. And this book just came out, the first 20 years, the Bishop years. And and there's Mark and Mitch. And this book you could spend probably a couple hours a day with for a month. It's really, I looked at one story in there yesterday about, a lot of people don't know, Bill France Jr. is the one that created the initial loans to John Bishop to create IMSA way back in the day. So it's come full circle back to the NASCAR family. But they were riding in a car, John and Peg Bishop. They were leaving I think it was the very first race at Talladega, and Big Bill's wife said, "Do we have anything to do with IMSA?" And he said, "We'll talk about that later." And so, so there's all kinds of nuggets like this throughout the book. The funny thing about when I got my copy of the book, maybe this is why I like it so much. Derek Bell on the cover. Random picture. The very first IMSA race I ever took place in was the 85 IMSA GTU race. Now, I didn't run well enough to be in the front of the picture, but I am somewhere in the field. And then this car at the front is the one that helped put me on the map starting the following year. That Malibu Grand Prix RX-7 I won the title with in 86 and 87. But a real treasure book with this being IMSA 50. one of the things I like to talk about with history is you can't manufacture it quickly. You know, you just got to put the layers and the layers and the layers, and it's so rich both here at Sebring and with the IMSA series. And so I know that's why a lot of you are here. I remember well the first IMSA race I ever went to. I'm sure a lot of you do too. So that's some of our news and notes, some of the stuff going on.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot. I mean, you mentioned out there just before the show went live, guys. If it looks like, let's face it, on TV right now, we'd be panicking. I'm just sharing. We'd be panicking if we were actually on the NBC broadcast right now. There'd be like an Exocet missile coming towards us in the stage because none of our guests have turned up so far. So we're going to reversing this show around a bit. You talk about the going out to Green Park. Well, I don't get asked about anything I've done on track ever. You do. I get asked about what I do with fans and how well or wrong it went.
This is where it started.
The
very first Justin Bell walk with the fans took place at Sebring. Do you remember the year?
It was actually, I was looking, it's about 2010 was when
really?
it happened. And everyone has a Sebring story, and definitely share your Sebring stories online with us. But what's your Sebrings? Oh my gosh, yeah, I actually remember this. This is a combination of alcohol and halitosis all in one place. And as you can see, I was responding, and he just got more affectionate. And
what's in his hand? Is he offering you his?
Oh no, that was his breakfast. It was so disgusting. I mean, a lovely guy. I'm sure he's still here. Maybe he's out there right now. But all I do remember about it was as he came in for the kill, he grabbed the microphone, which is a no-no in broadcasting because then you can't control anything. But he came in and he wanted to tell me how much he loved my dad, which is fantastic. Apart from the fact that anyone that's been to Sebring, in our audience right now, we have 27, well, I guess 90% men, and about 10% women, and that kind of extends the whole way through the paddock. So I think he was a bit lonely and wanted to kind of get involved. So that was a pretty nasty moment. But we're calling it the contact patch. And the Michelin contact patch this week is really when we're going to go out, and we have a little competition that we're going to run. We're going to go out, Tommy and I, with our very practiced eye, and judge the best campground. What do you think? Are you up for it?
Totally up for it. And it's funny, I meant to post this picture. I was on my way into the on Highway 27, I guess it is out here, and I see this car pulling this open flat trailer, and the only thing on the trailer was coolers. And so I said to my brother, I said, I wonder where they're going, and on the back window was a map of Sebring. So we talked about Super Sebring, there's Sizzling Sebring, Sloppy Sebring.
It's definitely not sober Sebring.
Not sober
I'll tell you
Sebring.
that. I don't know.
Which ties into my very first time here in 1985. Actually, just a few weeks after that race, that picture was taken in Miami. I was here in an RX-7 that my dad owned. I was driving with my brother Bart and Max Jones.
Oh, Tommy, hold on. Have you won? Are you the Kendall that won this race?
No.
There's
two Kendalls that have won this race, and none of them are here. My dad, my brother, and that's a favorite topic of conversation. And this is one of the closest times I came. My first time here, RX-7, family owned. Max Jones, who's now running Chip Ganassi's Monster Energy Cup series, amazing guy who helped get my career going. Anyways, first hour of the race, I'm coming around that sweeper, heading into the hairpin. The idler arm breaks, which now I've only got one wheel steering. Off through the grass, and I'm seeing that bridge abutment coming up. The bridge abutment narrows to the track, and I'm sliding, and I think I'm going to just pace this, and it just hooks up, and I slid across the track. No one was coming, pulled off there, and now I have to effect repairs for the first time ever. And as Max will remind you, and Dan Binks will remind you, I am next to useless. Yeah. But I'm trying. So I get out of the car, I jump over the fence, and the first thing I get offered about 3 beers. I'm 18 years old, and no one ever offered, and so I was tempted, but I had to keep my head in the game. Max Jones came over, and when he went over the fence, there was no bar on the top of the fence, and so he flipped over the fence. He got his fingers caught, and he flipped over, and he was hanging by his fingers, and so his fingers were swollen for the whole rest of the event. We, meaning he, changed the idler arm in the dirt. We got the car back to the pits, and a crazy tie into today's racing. And then all the factory cars, Jack Baldwin and all the guys had trouble, And there was this Porsche, this privateer loan Porsche from California, driven by Gary Oberlin, crewed by 16-year-old Bill Oberlin.
Wow.
And they were just putting along, but and we weren't exactly the fastest car, but we were catching them quickly at the end. Didn't catch them, and that's as close as I ever came to winning Sebring. So that's my Sebring story.
That is closer than me by a mile. One of the things that we did at the last race, I think that was really fun, engaging the fans, which, remember, we had over 1 million viewers, so we had a lot of online participation afterwards through our partner with MotorTrend, our partnership with MotorTrend. And one of the things that was quite popular is we did what we like to call the Michelin mystery guest. And the mystery guest at that race, Fernando Alonso brilliantly identified it wrongly as Flavio Briatore.
Easy mistake to make, given the photo evidence, which was a guy with no shirt on and beautiful women around him.
So here we are rolling.
Here's our first clue for Sebring.
You can't shout it out back there because it'll ruin the competition, but afterwards you can answer it. There's a prize if you answer it afterwards. Who is this? Tell us, Tom.
I'm not going to tell you who it is, but here's a car on fire. The race car driver's biggest fears. So think who's been on fire in a Corvette. There's some big names, really big names that have been on fire in a Corvette. We wouldn't show this picture if they weren't in fine health today, but this gentleman or lady, I don't think any ladies have driven the factory Corvettes yet.
No,
so
not yet.
Some of them, I call them ladies. But anyways, this gentleman will be here on Sunday. We'll give you another clue tomorrow, and I will say, one heck of a record in this Corvette.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to take a little break right now. Stay tuned, because when we come back, I'm about to go and make some calls and get some of my friends here. Stay tuned.
And we are back. Justin is working the phones, and actually he's back from working the phones, and we figure we might as well, if you can't fix it, feature it. Our guest isn't here, so we've got a lot of fans that are here. And so Justin is going to warm up those vocal cords.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm doing what I kind of do best, and that is walk around and talk to people who are wearing, well, at least you got shirts on out here. So a little competition. Who has been to Sebring the most times? Who's been here 5 times? Oh, that's easy. 10 times. Who's been here 15 times? 20 times? Oh my goodness, you better come here, young lady. Wow. So 20 times, how many is it actually in total?
Since 1981.
Since 1981. Did you meet my dad back in the 80s?
Never got to meet him, but I used to work for Jaguar, and he was like my idol back then.
You know, there's actually photographs of my father, with Steve McQueen during the movie Le Mans, but both with their shirts off. And Tommy and I, just before the show started, were like, yeah, we're not going to even attempt to recreate that photograph. As not many of you should either. We talk about racing nowadays. Let's talk about it just between you and I. There's only 300,000 people watching. Do you think the drivers then or the drivers now are more handsome?
Oh, that's a hard one. Yeah, that's really hard.
Let's get right into it.
Because you were probably more in the game then, weren't you? So, it was, yeah.
Your dad was good looking.
My dad was?
Yeah.
Oh, Mom. Sorry. No. I'm good. Oh, shush, don't. TK's here.
Now, you're not allowed to objectify women, but we're going to objectify the men, the studs of this series. We objectify their skill, their daring, their bravery. Objectify their. You said there's some good-looking current crop. Do you have some favorites?
They're all my favorites.
Oh, come on, we need some names. Who do you think is the cutest, the funniest, the most dashing, brooding? Give us some.
Hurley Haywood.
She likes the young ones. She likes the young ones.
Justin Bell.
Oh, okay. Now.
Have you seen the Hurley Haywood documentary? It's a really, really good documentary. Hurley was one of the first drivers that had time for me before I'd done anything at Laguna Seca. I used to spend all my time. There was a go-kart track in the paddock, a slick track, and I would just literally the whole time run session after session after session on this slick track. And Hurley came over. I guess I was older than I thought because I was about to go to the Bondurant school, and I told him I was going to the Bondurant school to start my racing career. And a month later, no kidding, 2 fire suits and a helmet showed up at my house. An Essex Porsche fire suit, a Bayside Disposal fire suit, and the helmet that he wore in 500. So a favorite of mine as well. My wife, she kept asking about, who is that driver? The one with the teeth, exactly. Felipe Nasser. And yes, so Caroline likes Felipe Nasser, but we'll get back to that more. At the end of the thing, I said, your guy just went off and Fernando Alonso won. So back to JB on the set. Thank you, guys.
Oh, okay. So, as you might have noticed, we have an incredible sponsor partner with us with Michelin, and we actually ran a little bit. Danny, who's sitting over there, our social media logistics ambassador, we did quite a fun online competition, which was really about how many tires.
Bend it. There
Are you bending it?
Yeah, there you
Do you
go.
like that?
There
That's
you
teamwork, right? How many tires were used during the Rolex, and how many tires were bought to the Rolex? And then we actually posed the question: how many tires were going to be bought here to Sebring between WEC and the and obviously the IMSA race? And the number was quite staggering. The number is actually 15,000 tires on site. Just think about that. 15,000. How much do you think a race tire must be? One of the full-blown Michelins must be on the way to 1,000 to go. So you think about that. And they last, well, between they last 2 hours to 3 hours in the dry, and in the rain, obviously a lot more. But Michelin are all about activation and engagement with the fans in this first year here as the sole tire supplier. And if you are here on site, I recommend that you, especially all you guys out there, go over to their 28,000-foot basically stadium tent that they have with their army of mechanics, engineers, all their tire technology people, and it is literally an ecosystem. It's a world over there, and I really would love you guys to go and check it out. Now, what they've also done is put together this event card, which I'm only showing it to you because it mentions us in here, but it also has some really good statistics, and you should go and see it because Michelin are doing something very pioneering this weekend, and they have activated a audio tour of the compound. You go and you register at the desk, you get a little yellow wristband, and you get the chance to really get an audio tour of their whole setup. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, little shameless plug there, but I do think we have some action going on at the back there, but we'll get to that in a minute. Tommy, when it really comes to it, Sebring, if you haven't been here before, how would you describe it to people? How would you say to people, why should you come to this race? I mean, you do Daytona, why would you come to this race?
Well, you should ask Audi why they test here even when they don't race here. You should ask these people that fly their cars, even when there was no LMP1 race in the States, they fly their cars to Sebring. It's the toughest test of man and machine. 12 hours here is tougher on the equipment than than 24 at Sebring or at Le Mans. So that's it. But things that just don't happen anywhere else. I remember before I drove here, I heard about the campfire smoke that would settle down onto the track. So all these things that you don't see anywhere else. Distractions off track, turn 10, naked people.
Naked people. I'm going to head over there because I see one of our favorite drivers, Colin Braun, is there. I'm going to head over there and grab him right now.
People say, how do we get onto the Torque Show? And hanging out with us is one of the good ways.
Well, Colin, welcome to the Talk Show. We didn't manage to get you on at the Rolex, but how are you feeling here, Super Sebring? Are you feeling super fast?
I'm feeling good, but I see the coffee. Where's the coffee barista?
Well, actually, that was actually your job. If that was going to be one of the things we were going to have you do. And of course, your dad is like massive into coffee. Jeff Braun, his father, really the brains behind the Braun. Ooh, do you like that? Nothing. That was shameless. He is a maestro with the coffee, isn't he? He measures it like a true engineer. He has the grounds flown in from a yak that delivers them to a mountain peasant in Peru who then flies them by carrier. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's pretty rare. Do you like his coffee or does it take 4 hours?
No, I do. I like it. He sends me just the beans, and then I put them in my coffee machine at home and make them. So really good. You could have him here, I think. You might be able to get him on the show.
We can't afford that.
But I don't think you can afford him. Yeah, that's where I was going. He's got to figure out our setup anyway, so he needs to focus.
His approach to coffee is not too different. I mean, he's literally testing. What are the variables he tests?
I don't know. He goes over my head.
Yeah.
He sent me a couple bags of coffee to try, and he sent me a driver report to fill out about the coffee beans and all this stuff. So, yeah, a bit too much.
You see, Colin's father, obviously, what? Hello. I know, we're getting it. Colin's dad, obviously, running your career from behind the pit wall right now. Must have been a bit of pressure growing up, though.
Yeah.
I mean, did he analyze everything?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Girlfriends?
No, I was focused on racing at that time. Yeah.
That may be where I went wrong. All right. But let's get on to the serious stuff. Daytona, what a crazy race that was. How do you feel coming into Sebring?
I feel good. We got a chance to come down here a couple weeks ago and test with our Nissan DPI, and that was the first time we had a chance to come and privately test anywhere when we got the car. So that test was huge for us. It was a really big 2 days. We learned a ton, and I think we're well set up to do good this weekend. For us, still new to the car. I mean, we got the car only in early December, so still figuring it out, but enjoying it for sure.
Perfect. Well, we're going to let Colin go. I think we're in a minute, TK. We're going to run a little commercial, and we're going to bring on our main man, Juan Pablo Montoya. See you later.
Thanks, Colin.
This is a united sports car series in every way, shape or form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the track. Extraordinary stuff. It looks like a demonstration drive. Some of the best racing in the world. Fast, furious, exciting. These are golden days indeed for IMSA and for endurance racing in North America.
Are we?
Yeah, we're back now.
Are we? Why?
Yeah, because we needed to talk to you, really
okay.
desperately. So
That's what you guys told me. Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know. We got him here for so many reasons, everybody. Hey, listen, Daytona. Are you just glad that that one was in the bag and gone and done? And, I mean, how did you find the rain?
I didn't get to drive in the rain.
Oh, you didn't even get in?
Put the helmet on and they red flagged it.
Wow. In some ways, when you head back to the motorhome, you're like, that was okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I know they wanted to call it and everything, and I felt at the end it wasn't. The rain. It was really wet, but the rain really slowed down at the end. It's like, we raced in worse conditions all morning long, so why are we not going back racing for the end of the race? They would have put a good show.
It would have been a crazy show, right?
Well, speaking of good show, we caught up with you on the grid beforehand. There was, I mean, talk about zero nerves. I think we've got a little clip of the interaction with you and Simon,
Yeah.
where you exposed him as a cheese fraud.
Yeah. Do you speak French?
I don't speak very well French, but I have a Renault 5.
You have a Renault 5?
I have a Renault 5.
You don't have a deux cheveux?
No, it's an Evo 2.
He's
so proud of his car.
He is very upset because he thinks everyone should speak French. I don't know why.
I don't know.
Everyone should, right?
Yeah.
He speaks French.
He's pissed off because the French fries are not
See,
French.
He just spoke French.
Yeah, he did speak French.
And it's true. It's actually. It's,
why they call him
I
French?
think Belgium, aren't
Belgium,
they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen French toast in France?
Hey, what? Sorry?
French toast? Love French toast?
Look, it's
I don't
confusing.
think they're French either. Are you French?
Yes.
Really?
Very. Very. I can't. There's no going around it.
This is where it
French
gets uncomfortable.
As, as French as it gets.
So where do you get? So last time you saw some posts on social media. He put some cheese, and it was like a 5-day suspense for the cheese. Where did the cheese came from?
Wait, it is a French cheese.
No,
that came
where did
from,
it come from?
Oh,
God.
It came from
Pennsylvania.
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 So he's been exposed as a cheese fraud. What I thought was great about that is it showed a side of you. You get a reputation of being grumpy and prickly, and so you're intense. That I don't think you would deny that.
But you got to be that in the race car.
But the other
Yeah.
side as well. And
I mean,
so
when
There's no
you're doing your
prizes for being
job,
nice, right?
no, when you're doing your job, you got to do your job. You know, you got to be focused. You got to do, the meetings. You got to drive the car, and you got to do what you get paid to do.
Yeah.
But
I know.
when you do your job right, people normally not gonna like you.
Yeah, I know. Totally true.
well, which is kind of a lead-in to a nickname that I gave you a few years ago. And this goes back to 2011. I was sitting on my couch watching Darlington, and Jimmy Johnson was going around Juan. I think you weren't having a great day, and I think it was putting him a lap down. And I don't know the background, but he got into it, and Jimmy says, "What did I do?" And I texted, "You just met the honey badger." How many people have seen the honey badger video? The honey badger video is one of the funniest pieces of. And so finally, I'm at Jimmy's golf tournament a few years later, and I show it to Jimmy. He says, "You've got to show it to Juan." And I'd never met Juan at this point, and I was a little afraid of Juan. And so he says, "You've got to show it to him." I showed it to him. He thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. Fast forward a couple weeks, Jenna Fryer from the AP says, "I'm sitting with Juan doing an interview, and he brought up the video, the honey bear. We can't find the honey bear." I said, "It's not the honey bear, it's
Honey
the
badger."
honey badger." Yeah. And so they finally pulled it up, and then whipped around Twitter, and your wife chimed in after seeing it. "I finally understand my husband."
That is true.
And so you were the honey badger before
Anybody.
Ricardo or any of those guys, and I have to think it's pretty fitting. Now, the honey badger takes what he wants. That's the tagline. Honey badger takes what he wants and doesn't give a shit. When you're out there, that's the only way to play.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do your job. You got to be smart. But, people normally don't like me. I remember, was it Petit last year after the race? Somebody, honestly, I don't know who it was. Somebody that raced, I guess, in a GTD or something, was really pissy because I passed him in a place I wasn't supposed to pass. I'm like,
Show me that rule.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh. And I understand the feeling that sucks when you're about to turn in and somebody shows up next to you out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and it scares the hell out of you. But that doesn't make me, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Now, when the shoe's on the other foot and someone does you what you feel like isn't really cool, you're consistent both ways, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's what it is. You know what I mean? If I left the door open and they went in there and roughed me up, I mean, it sucks,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
rules are rules.
I want to change gears. Well, on that note, I interviewed your daughter last year at Long Beach, and she said my mom's actually tougher than my dad.
Oh, yeah, I'm the nice guy. Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that the same for all of us? I mean, not you, Tommy, obviously, with your beautiful wife over there. Yeah.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
right.
yeah, right.
You say something.
But I don't know how that came up. Look at that. Training, cycling, getting away. You have a lot of nice toys. I know you got
A lot of bikes.
a lot of bikes, right? And people are
I
giving
have
you
1, 2 road bikes. I have 2, maybe 3. I gave one to Sebastian, so let's say 2. And mountain bikes, I have A lot.
A lot. But people give you
remote-controlled jet airplanes, helicopters.
That's what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying,
I
Pete-
do have the best toys with Horizon. Yeah, I do have, like from a tiny little quadcopter to, huge jets, helicopters.
totally. And you keep those all down in Miami.
Yeah.
That's
I got a huge, like a 6-meter sailplane that I gotta put together. I haven't had time.
6 meters. Wingspan.
Yeah, wingspan. Yeah.
Wow. That's a hell of a drone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I have that. I got a new helicopter that I gotta put together. The helicopter is fun, but I used sometimes when I was in NASCAR because I didn't have enough time. I used to bring it to the races and just build it on the track.
Yeah.
But it kind of takes too much attention away from the racing.
Yeah.
so-
I've heard those are crazy hard to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's two different things: flying
Uh-huh.
and flying.
Okay.
Like the basic flying.
Yeah.
It's tough, but you can do it.
But really doing stuff.
Yeah, like you see the pros doing it, and you go, it's like,
Wow.
and you look at their fingers, are like.
And
Yeah.
they're
It's
probably
like-
normally about 9 years old because they can do it. Your
Yeah,
son
yeah.
could probably. Getting back to racing a sec, I remember I was in the pit lane when you first did your first sports car race, and we were
Okay.
there and we saw you get in. Obviously, you'd see me standing right in your way when you try to get out. My thing that ran through my mind is you'd spent an entire career in the most pure forms of motorsport, and Formula One definitely one of the purest. And then you have obviously with IndyCar with that huge success and NASCAR so totally absorbed. What was it like for you as mentally switching it up to sharing a car with another guy? We saw you with Simon there, great relationship, but it does take a different mindset.
Same thing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think about it. I just drive the car and talk to the engineers. I think the cool thing is you need to make you got to realize everybody needs to be comfortable in the car. That's the
Yeah.
only thing that is different. So having a good relationship with your teammates is very important. Understand what they need. Understand what you need. We were actually laughing because Dane just had the first practice, and we're not gonna do a lot of running, so he did the whole session, and he was really, really happy with the car. And we're walking back, and I'm telling the engineer, I think it's gonna suck for me. And he looked at me and said, "Yeah, I know."
Now something you just kind of came into focus for me. We're asking all these questions, and you just keep it like super simple. Like, what is the most important stuff, and all the other stuff just kind of falls away. Is that how you were just thought all along? It seems obvious to you.
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta focus on what's important, and I mean,
It's the only way to be, really.
I don't know. It's like, what else you need to, you look at the data, you see what he's doing. You can compare, we tested here a few weeks back, so we did the meeting. I looked at, the way the track is today, how he's driving the car. I looked at a video of his lap and a video of the other car, and
Now, why did you say you think it'll suck for you? Talk a little bit about what some of those differences are.
they're very subtle, but normally when he's very happy, the car has too much understeer for me.
Okay.
And he won't complete the corner.
Okay. So what do you, obviously finding the compromise is ideal, where he's not totally happy, you're not totally happy.
Like normally when we're both happy, I have a little bit of understeer on the car where I just can't go super fast, and he's got to struggle a little bit with the front.
Okay.
And when he's mega happy, I go in there and I just can't, it's like, where the hell does the rest of the corner go? You know what I mean? It's like I still
Really
need to.
gives up.
I need to keep going around the corner.
Talk about just also being here at Sebring as an event. The first year you came again, it was probably eye-opening. I know you do a lot of testing here, and
Yeah.
IndyCar tests here, so you're familiar with the track. Well, you're probably not.
You're never familiar with this place.
Really?
So many freaking bumps.
Yeah. So it's changing every time you do it.
I mean, it doesn't. If you change your line that much, you found 10 new bumps. It's insane. It's like, I'll give you an example. Like turn 16, and we were doing the track walk yesterday, and my two teammates go, "Oh, this place is so bumpy." And I look at them, there's not a single bump here. And we looked at the video, and I'm half a car further left.
Really?
Half a car.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, non-eventful.
Nice corner.
Now,
Yeah,
take
exactly.
take us into a debrief, the sort of adjustments you can make, because everybody looks at it and says, well, why is that car, they're the same car, why does it look so much different? Talk about some of the adjustments just on shocks. There's different, the front of the bump, the back of the bump.
Yeah,
talk a
but we
little
don't, honestly, for us, I'll give you an example. You do a flat ride height that it's about 1 mil, a little less than 1 mil. you change one of those.
One flat, meaning you turn it one flat,
like
basically,
if you look
millimeter.
if you look at a knot, it's got like, what is it? Eight sides?
8 sides, yep.
So one side of the knot, like of the thread. That will change the car completely, how the car behaves.
So a millimeter
because
change.
if you think about how big that front of the car, like the bottom of the car is in the front,
yep.
that, you know, the
Basically
spoiler,
the underwing.
the underwing in the front, that is so sensitive that 1 mil will make change how the car handles. So it'll change the pitch of the car, you know what I mean? So
Center
the
of
lower
pressure.
so the lower the car is, it means you're gonna have more front grip, but when you're on the brakes and you steer, as it's lower to the ground, it means it's gonna turn a lot more. And if it's a little higher, it'll turn a lot less. So how you modulate the brakes and how you position the car going in, it changes. So you can make the car. That's why when somebody drives the same car, 3 people drive the same car, it behaves different. Is because all 3 of us brake different, all 3 of us turn different. You know, some will turn more with the brake pressure on and the car more on the nose. Some will release the brakes to try to roll in. So it depends how you do it. You'll get a completely different result.
Other than having some fun, that's one of my goals for this show is to kind of give, because we talk about it, we all know it, but it doesn't get translated. And so literally the exact same car, exact same setup, how quickly you ramp off the brake determines how much the front of the car comes up.
And yeah, how fast you do it, or how hard you stop the brake, it creates more or less. Yeah. So you can make the car do a lot of different things. You know what I mean? So you can kind of adapt to it, and I'm very good at adapting. But
it's always adapting. You talk about the bumps here. Everyone says respect the bumps. My dad always told me, you've seen the banners, hashtag respect the bumps. My dad always told me respect had to go both ways, and I don't think the track does that. I mean,
no, and it gets older, it gets grumpier.
It gets it does, like all of us.
Now,
You do?
No, actually, I get nicer. I mean, I was actually always nice, really. Yeah.
Now, you have a unique perspective.
Your wife is looking at you like, yeah, that's going downhill fast, sweetheart.
I get a little grumpy.
Yeah, he does.
You've always been a little grumpy.
I'm getting better, I think.
And she's laughing.
And she's laughing. It was her birthday yesterday, birthday girl.
Birthday. 15, yeah?
Believe it or not, that is 52.
Oh, did she? Oh, now you're in trouble.
When you
You
look
weren't
like
in
that,
trouble?
when you look like that, you can say your age because
that's true.
people. She got carded at when she was buying the booze for the motorhome.
Okay.
At Walmart.
We like
that. You have a unique perspective. I don't know anyone who's driven for Frank Williams, Ron Dennis, Roger Penske, Chip Ganassi.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing breadth. Now, different points in your career. Rather than saying what your favorite was, what was go through them and say something maybe we don't know, but your favorite thing and your least favorite thing about each organization, maybe, or what they did well, or that
So I'll talk. So Frank was amazing. He's the greatest guy to, like the sweetest guy, until you talk about money.
Okay.
Then he was like locked out completely. With Ron Dennis, you have no idea what you would get. Like every day would be different. So it was very hard to have a good relationship because he was so unpredictable. Chip is harsh. You know what I mean? Chip, if you're a nice guy, don't go and race for Chip.
Just blunt, direct, and harsh.
Yeah, if you're nice and you race for Chip, his compliments will make you cry.
Okay. Now, gives his teams what they need, clearly.
Yeah, and Roger is unbelievable. Roger is such a people's person, and it's so well. It's hard to even think about getting mad at Roger because he's such a nice guy. You know what I mean? And everything is right, everything is methodical. You know what I mean? Everything has a reason, and it's like you understand the reason of everything. So it's pretty cool.
And he commands respect because he's earned it over time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's Roger's in the Hall of Fame too, isn't he?
Every Hall of Fame.
Every single Hall of Fame, everywhere. Look, obviously, here at Sebring, 2 races going on. We've never seen this place look like it. I mean,
it's amazing for the fans.
For the fans.
Can you believe how many people are here?
No. I mean, they're going to have 100,000 people come through here over these 3 days. And I went for
It's got to be more.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, if you look at the amount of
I don't think they can sell more
somebody's
tickets.
telling you like
200,000. Sorry, 200,000.
Like, if you go on the info, like we did the track walk, every bit of the track, there's a motorhome park, both sides.
They've never had it before. I mean, they've logistically had to really up their game. Everybody's participating.
They did a good job with the pit lane.
Amazing.
I haven't even been down there, but like
Yeah.
the track walk, the pit lane looks nicer
For
than
those of you
ours.
that don't know, I haven't been there either, but with WEC here, they've actually created.
Are we even allowed in?
Good question. I don't. I'm not. That's safe to say. You could probably get a whole separate pit lane to deal with the logistics. Now you're going to take part in something a little bit later with the Big Green Egg. You and Ricky Taylor. What do you got planned to
It's
show
tomorrow,
off?
isn't it?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, but how many hours does the brisket take?
Yeah, a lot of time. Yeah. Oh, the pizzas.
Really?
Oh,
They're the best?
They're the best.
Yeah. I've seen Ricky post about that.
Yeah, I have a friend. I cheat because I have a friend that runs a big Italian restaurant. So we get the dough,
Oh, it's all done.
the dough, proper dough, and the dessert pizza.
Dessert pizza.
Oh, yes.
What happens on a dessert pizza?
You only do the dough, no
Uh-huh.
sauce or anything, and when it's like cooked a little bit, you put Nutella and banana on it.
Nice.
Yes.
Training tips from JPM. Have a dessert.
Have you ever tried a cinnamon sugar one?
I don't
No?
like cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Okay.
I don't like cinnamon.
Okay.
What the hell?
Okay. But now here,
But I'm going to jump in because there's a reason they're doing the green egg thing, which is, as you know,
Raise some money.
Raise some money early January, late January here in little sleepy Sebring. They had that fatal shooting go on, so they're raising money for the local community, which is
And the
which is
families,
a great
yeah.
thing, and the families. So that'll
So
be
if
cool.
people can come and help, would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
come taste Ricky's pizza and Juan's brisket tomorrow at 3. What time is it?
I think
4
it's
o'clockish,
four-
I think.
four
Yeah,
or five,
right
yeah.
there. So, lastly, obviously, this weekend it's going to be, 12 hours around here. Everyone says it's, half as long and twice as hard.
Is
I
it?
mean, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't done it. Last year I did about 6.
Okay.
For me, it was the 6 hours of Sebring.
That never works unless you're Alonso, when you can have the 23-hour 50 minutes of Daytona. And
Yeah,
then,
by the 50, yeah, exactly. And then they get the red flag at the right time.
But it's going to be a very demanding race in every way. Multi-class racing here. Every class is full up with some incredible people. So, there's a lot going on.
It is a lot. I think for a fan, like a couple of friends were asking me what race should I come. I said you need to come to
Yeah.
Sebring because you're gonna get to see apart from what we do, you're gonna get to see the hybrids. I don't know if you noticed yesterday doing the track walk, the amount of rubber
Oh, yeah.
on the track.
Crazy.
And you got to remember the Europeans run, the confidential tire, they
Yeah.
call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is like,
Yeah.
all the good
A
tires.
little bit.
When you were saying what do they cost, I said you can't buy those.
You can't buy those. They're not
Yeah,
for sale.
they're not for sale. And you got to have somebody with the tires the whole time.
Yeah.
You cannot leave the tires alone.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Mission is very strict about it.
Yeah.
But those, it's like, talking to Dane, he said, oh, you should have seen the first 5 minutes of practice while that rubber picks up. Oh, my God, it was like heaven.
Really? How fantastic.
So actually, and then it wore off, and
Yeah,
the
then we'll pick
confidential
up-
rubber was gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we let you go, obviously, hugely sad news yesterday.
Charlie Whiting.
Charlie Whiting. I never
That's
knew him
unbelievable.
personally.
I did. I worked
Yeah.
with him for many years, and he was such a good guy, and he created such a big respect. Like everybody respected him. His opinion was like gold.
Yeah.
It's not easy to
Just
do.
FI
Race director.
Race director. who
Yeah, he
passed
was
away.
like the race director, but he was the guy that before every race he went to the truck, got the truck approved, make sure everything was good, and he really cared what the driver thought, and it was always very interesting, and he always did a really good job managing the dramas between the drivers and
Yeah.
everything.
That's what they say. Well, we're just going to quickly roll a quick obit, but JP, thanks for coming on the show.
Anytime.
Well, we'll see you over the weekend, and enjoy this weekend. Thank
buddy.
you very
Yeah,
much.
no worries.
Thanks very much. Well, welcome back to the talk show. Just having a legend like Juan Pablo Montoya on, all those racing successes in every category around the world, we thought it'd be really nice to just balance that up. And
Go to the other end of the spectrum, as it
yeah,
were.
no. David, thanks for coming. We've
Hey,
seen you
nice
a lot
to-
this week.
oh,
haven't
yeah.
we?
Well, you know, everyone loves a hobo, and I don't know if is it hobo or hobo?
Hobo.
Oh, it's
hobo.
hobo. Oh, that's a good one. Everyone loves a hobo, especially in LA.
Hobo's on sale in the Gallery of Legends this very day.
Is it really? Are you signing?
It's a huge discount.
Yeah, well, we talked about at the beginning that we had a picture of you. You basically were in every photograph almost. You were at the Hall of Fame. You were at Amelia Island. Good
Been
Lord.
a busy week, hasn't it?
Hasn't it?
Yeah, been a lovely week. I miss the Amelia Island was just wonderful. The weather was fantastic. Huge crowd, biggest entry they've ever had. And obviously Tommy Kendall was there, which kind of knocked the edge off it a little bit. But other than that, it was fine. Great cars on the field. And then I went straight from there to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, and met some other great bars. Dario was inducted, and he was very good. Everybody was terrific. So we had a lot of fun at the Hall of Fame.
We talked about it earlier. One of the highlights for me and everyone is Chase Carey was there, the CEO of Formula One, and David brings him on stage by saying, "I was unceremoniously dumped after doing what I thought was pretty good work by this guy." That was his introduction of Chase Carey, which is why everyone loves you on television.
Well, my script was written, because Chase Carey was the honorary chairman. And I thought, when I saw the script and he was going to be the honorary chairman, I thought, I can't believe my luck. I mean, this is the guy that had me fired from 40 years of TV work. So I did have to mention it in passing when he came on. And somebody said, "Oh, that was an awkward moment." And I said, "It wasn't awkward at all."
I've been living for this moment.
I've been living for this moment, exactly. But
So here we are at Sebring, Dave. We covered at Amelia Island. We did, and probably at the Hall of Fame. We talked so much about the past, and Sebring really, it's like it's distilled. IMSA sports car racing is all distilled into a fine point here at Sebring, because the best races, the biggest drivers in the world, the most incredible fans, all are here. I mean, there's a little picture of you there. Look, 1971's Ferrari 512M. But
yeah, that's another one I didn't win.
You didn't win that one either.
No.
What's your favorite? If you were able to tell one Sebring story and share on the show, what would it be?
Oh gosh, well obviously when I drove for Gulf and in the GT40 of 68, 69, so I first came here 51 years ago to drive the GT40 in the 12-hour with Paul Hawkins, and in the race was a Javelin, an American Motors Javelin, being driven by Leanne Engerman, Janet Guthrie I think, and Donna Mae Mims, and Paul Hawkins was my co-driver, and Paul was Australian. And Paul was not what you call a diplomat. Anyway, they ran into each other down at turn 5. And Paul's expletives in the press room afterwards, and all the usual stuff that women love so much, like women shouldn't be on the racetrack, they should be in the kitchen, mate, and all in the bedroom. It was, talk about politically incorrect. But it did get us a lot of coverage, but unfortunately we were leading when he hit them. He said they hit him, but who knows on those, one of those, 20, racing incident. So that was a fairly amusing story.
Talk about
the
track.
most disappointing was...
It used to go,
oh yeah,
way in the back 40 where the two runways met. It was unlike anything else I'd ever done, where you have 8-lane runway, meeting another 8-lane runway.
Yeah. When it got dark, it was easy to get lost out there.
Yep.
Didn't they put a pylon out there? Didn't they have like
There's
about one pylon. All it needed was somebody to knock, had a few cones, just like a driving school. It only needed somebody to knock down a couple of those cones, and you hadn't got a clue where you were out there. It's just all this mass of concrete, because these two gigantic World War II runways met down there somewhere.
And sometimes you just follow the car in front of you and follow them right off the road.
Follow them right into the next county if you weren't careful. So, but that's where Mark Donoghue had his incident with Pedro Rodriguez in 1971. And my biggest moment was leading the 917s, because after driving a GT40 68, 69, somebody at Porsche didn't want me to drive the 917, so they dropped me, and it was massively, massively pleasure the following year when we came back in 71, and we out-qualified them at Daytona, and we out-qualified them here, and we outran them at both places, but unfortunately, we didn't win.
Driving those monstrous cars around here, though, like that 512, like the Ford GT40, seeing the 917s. Those cars at Daytona were unleashed in their top speed, but round here, I guess they were so much more compliant. By compliant, we mean they absorbed the bumps.
And there was a lot more ground clearance in those days because we hadn't got round to the the under the floor aerodynamic pulling the car down. So you had ground clearance.
Moving a bit.
So the car would bounce around a little bit. But of course, you also before the days of ground effect. I mean, the rear tires were that wide.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some grip. I mean, those suckers did grip, and
Look at this stuff.
and of course it was very fast. I mean, it would do 200.
There it is. There's the runways. It gives you a good idea of what went on. That is staggering.
And that's where you get lost when all.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine that? You're out there. Dad told me that you're out there, and suddenly you'll see you're looking in the mirror, but you'll see headlamps coming in from the left. And you're like, what on earth is happening? And is a plane landing?
Plane landing on the other runway.
Yeah, plane landing on the other runway, or someone totally lost. God, those cars were fabulous, weren't they?
The other thing that was really groovy about the old circuit was, again, out. Is it west? That's west, isn't it? Yeah. No, it isn't. That's west. So up here on the north end, there used to be tons of World War II aircraft parked there, and they were cannibalizing them for bits. So all these fantastic airplanes parked out there, and you're driving around your race car trying to concentrate on the race, and there was all these wonderful airplanes to look at. It was very exciting.
Wow.
Quite a sightseeing tour.
So this weekend you're obviously flogging your book.
Yeah.
You're going to be paying. It's nice to see the WEC guys here.
Yeah.
See some of the drivers in the cars, and obviously you're going to stick around for Saturday.
I don't think I'll come Saturday.
Okay.
But I mean, what a weekend they've got lined up for all you fans this weekend. I mean, it's absolutely
Amazing.
unbelievable. When I drove in today, you could see the crowd is already huge, and swollen foot.
What? You're really fitting in Sebring. Which retirement community are you heading to?
These are my shopping centre shoes. Because us old codgers, you go around, you do a few laps around the edge of the shopping mall to get your exercise. And this is in case I get lost. And they say it's the man with the green shoes. So when I'm in a big crowd, I just lie down the feet in the air. And they go, oh, there he is, over there.
Yeah, well, they certainly would.
Now, David, do you? There's a little cocktailing going on over there.
Yes.
And we actually talked sort of fuel mixture before you went up on stage at Amelia Island. There's an art to how much to drink and when. Any pointers for the folks?
Well, I drink too much all the time, so I'm really not much good at I'm not much good at pointers on not drinking enough, no. So, here's Allan McNish. Now, he doesn't drink at all. So.
Allan, come in here, mate. Oh, look, I thought you were already here. Sorry, that's harsh, that is. Oh, I haven't seen you for so long. That's so nice. Happy New Year, everyone.
Proper driver.
Yeah, proper. Yeah.
Proper winning driver. How you doing, Allan? Good to see you.
Allan, how are you? Welcome.
Here you are. Allan McNish, everybody. Woo!
So we had a little bit of a guest drought early in the show, but
we're making up for it now.
The heavens have opened.
Now it's a flood.
I just feel a bit bad, the fact that I'm being compared to a sort of blobby Michelin man there.
Yeah, I'm going to spin that mic round. There you are.
Yeah, is that better?
So, Allan, here you are. This is very official. Allan's obviously here for the WEC, full access. You're doing TV.
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, TV. And I've been asked to be the Grand Marshal of both events, of the IMSA on Saturday and WEC on Friday. But that sort of usually means you're old, Justin. But then again, the positive thing is, I always know this man's going to be 1 or 2 months older than me.
I know. It's true.
Now, it is true that it means you're getting older, but they don't ask every old person to be the Grand Marshal. So
thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
You have certainly earned that, and I'm older than he is.
Let's cut to the important stuff. What free stuff do they give you for being Grand Marshal?
Well, you get his pass. This very nice pass that says full access, and I'm not sure where I'm full accessing. I'm trying to access your bank account, but that's not working.
Well, that's not the one to go to.
No.
So you don't get like a watch or anything? They don't give you...
I don't know. It's one of those ones where you might just get lucky. It's like a lucky dip.
There's someone smaller
Thank
than
you. I've got
set.
Bibidum here on my knee. That's very kind.
So what does Allan's year look like? Because obviously no racing, but you're all over the world. You're actually busy now. If you're his lovely, lovely wife, who's very active on social media, while Allan's actually not even allowed to be on her Facebook account.
No, she blocked me.
She's always saying that you are now busier than when you were full-time racing for Audi.
Yeah, no, I stopped. Last time I raced here was 6 years ago, 2013, and at the end of the season, that's when I stopped. And so I've driven a car once since then on a circuit, and that was it. But to be honest, like you know, Justin, we were racing back in 1987, and from there we love racing. It's our place, it's our living room. We're all living it and living the dream. So in that respect, it was always going to be a case of continuing doing it. But right now, it's taken a very big swing from what I was doing before, because right now I'm here. This is all V8s, V10s, V6s, big noise, everything else, and I'm the head of Audi's electric program in Formula E.
Whoa.
Weren't you just in Hong Kong last week?
I was in Hong Kong last week, and I go back to China next week.
That's what I thought.
So that's why my wife doesn't see me very often.
No.
That's why we're still married after 18 years.
Perfect.
There's a lot of people over there going, yeah, we know that, yeah. And a lot of women saying, yeah, bloody hell, I tell you what, he's going to pay for that.
Seems to be a recurring theme this weekend. Your favourite Sebring memory? Winning?
Yeah, I've had so many, because we used to come here and race, but we also used to come here and do so many tests. So I've stayed in the various hotels and bits and pieces around here for probably of my life, maybe about 5 or 6 months of my total life coming to Sebring. So I've got a lot of memories. Some of them I can't tell you about. And some of the racing ones, then I would say probably 2009, the battle with Peugeot, which was... Yeah, this one here.
Yeah, look at that.
This is the first time. This is when I get nicked going down the straight, I think. That's Frank Montagnier there. He sort of just moved forward. I didn't think that was very nice of him. It wasn't very polite. But
he's not known for that.
No. But
how much of a lift going in it? You just literally had to breathe, didn't you?
Yeah, basically it was one of two things. You could brake, depending on the way the wind was, whether it was in your face or not. You could brake and go down a gear if the wind was behind you or across, but into turn one. But if the wind was actually in the face of the car, you could just sort of roll it through the corner, either in top gear, which was 5 with that car, or if you had to pull it down a gear, and it was just enough to let it flow through.
But, that's crazy.
Well, what I love about that comment is one of our goals for this show, not only to have some fun, but to try to, even people that watch a lot don't really understand some of the minutia that separates the best from so forth. The fact that you're monitoring the wind and how that affects it, so you're looking at the flags on the campers.
Yeah. Here, there's a lot of fans, there's a lot of campers, there's a lot of flags, so there's a lot of information. And also you build up a bit of an understanding where the wind affects you, because when the campers come here along the start-finish straight, it's like a funnel. And so therefore it's got more of an effect there. But then when you come back on the Monday to do your endurance test and the campers have all gone, then the wind affects a lot differently through turn one. So you get it on the nose of the car on exit, these sort of things. So, you build up that experience. And so for the newbies that come into Sebring, it's an eye-opener in every single way.
Yeah, talk about how you figure that out. Did someone tell you that, or did you just say, why is it different, and start working deductively?
You work it out. You feel the car and you look around, bit of information, bit of flag. And then once we worked out that the wind had such a big effect on the car, and there was things that you can adapt to and things that you've just got to accept. And so we could do various things in the car to help the balance of it, especially when we got into the hybrids and things like that with the recuperation of energy and boosting and things. And so then we used it, and so we basically had a wind profile of the circuit, so it gave us, the engineers, an idea of what was where, and then they monitored it and gave us the information when we were getting in the car.
One of the nice things about this show is we kind of go longer, and we were probably supposed to end the show now, but talk a little bit about the hybrids and the things you could do, how you would apply the power, where you would talk about some of the things that the ability with the electric motors allows you to do things you couldn't do before.
Yeah. I want to say I had a wind profile too, but it was about how much I talked before I got in the car.
I'm glad it was that wind and you're not talking about other winds.
That's consistent.
We're thinking in the same one there.
That's consistent.
I've got a
Answer
wind
the
profile
question.
too.
Ignore me.
With the hybrid systems, at the beginning, it was regenerating a little bit of energy and then coming out the corner and using it as power off the front wheels. And then when we got into it, we realised that if you lift it off on the straight, say about 300 yards into turn one, you regenerated so much energy at high speed, you stored it, and then you had a massive kick of power coming out the corner. It was huge, to the point where we were 50% electric power, 50% engine power. And so we started to understand how you could recuperate energy, how you could store it, whether it be on the driver, on the brake, on lift off, or also we had like a forced recuperation, which was quite an aggressive way to do it. But then you use the brakes less. Wow. So then you consider, do we really need the brakes this big? So then that's revolving weight, and revolving weight's negative for performance. And then you've got then you can take the cooling ducts off because you've got less brakes, and then the cooling ducts are drag, and then you've got a narrower, sleeker car. So, it's not just a case of sticking a hybrid in there and rock and roll. It's about the whole concept that everything comes from it. And that's not overnight. It took us
evolving, and of course
40 years.
That's why Audi is so involved in that, because that technology is moving its way onto the road cars
it is,
that we're going to be driving. So we are drawing near the end, but I'm going to use this. We have this thing called questions, which was...
questions. We have these things called questions.
VP Racing for the fans, and we...
You got your little gift bag.
We actually have a little gift bag right here.
Do I get a gift?
You don't get one.
Oh.
But we have a little goodie bag, and in this goodie bag, it's really got everything you need to survive in Sebring. Sunblock, you're not here, but sunblock and socks and all sorts of fun stuff. I've got a question for you guys afterwards in the crowd, so don't go anywhere. This was posted on our Facebook page, and I'm going to ask it to both of you. Why are you so sexy? And it comes from...
It's natural.
Is it just natural?
It's just natural.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't have to work on it particularly hard. You've looked the same way a long time. Yeah.
Still look young.
Still look young. David, why are you so sexy?
It just shows how
it's a serious question.
It just shows how badly thought out this show is, because I'm not.
I was going to say, I think that was from the Alonso show.
That was actually
from the Alonso show.
Yeah. Oh yes, that was from the Alonso show.
Jean Paul. That's all.
That's very true actually, because neither of you actually fit that question. So that's pretty awful. Okay, this is going to be the question. It's from Jamie SO40414. What's the favorite car you've ever raced, Alan?
The R10, definitely.
Really?
No question. Yeah.
Why?
R10 TDI, because it was a brute of a car. Huge downforce, huge power, very raw, not very sophisticated because it was right at the earliest development. And it was a car that you had to pick up and throw around. And if you didn't, it just took control of you. Loved it.
Wow. Well, I got to say, we're so excited to have you both on the show. We're drawing to the end now. It really feels like we've got a whole family here, because David I've known since I was a wee lad, and I've known you since the first ever car race I went to.
You've known him since he was a wee lad.
He was always
I'm still a wee lad.
Still a wee lad. My first car, just put it in perspective, my first car race, Allan McNish and Mika Häkkinen were in, and I was third a lot. Like a lot.
Birmingham Super Prix.
Pole position, shoved it in the wall because I'd never led a race before. Alan came up to me afterwards and said, "What happened? You were going to win that race if you'd said." I was like, I'd never been in the lead before, so I looked in the mirror and went straight in the wall.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
just putting it out there, I crashed on the first lap in practice, so I never even made the race.
That's true.
Oh
my God.
I'm glad to hear that, because Justin is very self-deprecating, but the man can wheel as well.
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, totally. Well, listen, thanks so much for watching us. We have some big news today. Our website went live, so that's talkshow.com, thetalkshow.com. You can follow Align on all our social media channels. As you can see, Talk Show Live on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Really get involved. If you go on the website, you can subscribe, be a part of it. We have some really fun, like, Talk Show Club ideas we're going to be doing. All our shows are now podcasts, so everything... You're up on our podcast now from Rolex. We got lots of enhanced content, we're calling it, which is appearing when we bring guests on like Alan and David and go a little bit deeper into the show. Totally thank you, Tommy. This has been a good one to kick off with here at Sebring. Thank you for being patient at the beginning. As you can see, we were juggling chainsaws, but I think we ended it on a high note.
Yeah, no, kudos to you guys. Like I said, an embarrassment of riches here at the end. I don't know Alan very well, but a huge fan over the years. Literally makes it look easy, but you got a little bit of an insight into how much is going on up there to figure it out and nuance. And the guys that make it look easy are the ones that are usually working the hardest. And my man, I'll say it right this time, Hobbo, not Hobo.
Hobbo, not Hobo.
Thanks for sharing your fun and wisdom with us.
Alan McNish, remember, follow along. We've got 2 more shows this weekend. Air streaming live on MotorTrend's Facebook page, then to their YouTube channel, and then other social media channels after that. See you tomorrow, guys. Thanks for watching.
If you're going to win at Sebring, you have to have the same grit and determination of the World War II era B-17 crews that trained here over 75 years ago.
An out-of-the-way spot in central Florida is an almost forgotten airport has echoed to the fury of cars at speed.
The myth, the legend, that is the Mobil 1 12 hours of Sebring.
Oh yeah, I mean, Sebring 12 hours is just an amazing atmosphere.
There's really nothing else quite like Sebring. The green flag is waved and we are racing. Contact and off the circuit.
What a slide! What a slide! Can he hold on to? That is skill, ladies and gentlemen, to hang on to that race car.
The racetrack itself is very, very bumpy and very demanding for everybody.
A lot of concentration to keep the car on track.
People say if you last 12 hours at Sebring, you last 24 hours everywhere else.
Always respect the bumps at Sebring because, as I said, they can surprise you.
Oh, we've got a car upside down. It's the 64. This will be a safety car.
The only thing I'm afraid that the reasonable pace here today is going to be very fast.
Green flag is in the air as we go back to racing.
As I've often said, Calvin, it's 25% great team, 25% great car, and 50% good luck.
12 hours of racing at a sprint pace. It comes down to something like this. 8 seconds between the top two teams.
How bad is it? I don't think it's going to finish.
And Misa's gone wide, and here comes Balzan. Eases off the brake in the middle of the corner and goes through. Super move down the inside into 17. My goodness, he was close to the wall on the right-hand side.
And out of the darkness, one car would emerge the victor.
And look at this. It's like history, like looking back in time. A Ford GT leading a Porsche, leading a Corvette. That's what Sebring is all about.
Don't worry too much about the fact that it's a 12-hour race. Just stand on it.